talking about straining for that logo on the side of your helmet and not the name on your back.
Yes, sir.
Because we know what it represents. It represents everybody here you see and everybody you can't that we've talked about. I'm here to strain with you, man. I swear to God, I'm here to strain with you. Let's go. Everything you got, strain with everything you got. Let's go. Bills on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bills.
You're listening to the Off Tackle with John Fina show with your host, Joe Miller. Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome, everybody, into the Off Tackle with John Fina show, brought to you by the Market Dominator team on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. I don't know if I'm still supposed to be doing that read or not. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassospizza.net. I'm the host of this here show. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, and that over there is the one, the only, we talk about him every single week, John Fina. John, is there no celebratory... Don't touch me. Oh, I got to go this way. Don't touch me.
I feel like I could reach across the frames and choke you out. I'm so pissed right now. There's no celebratory cracking of the beer.
I was wondering.
I just poured it, and I got a bourbon back, so I can, I got the bourbon blues.
Oh, you're going strong. You're going strong for this show.
Can I do this? Can I do this? It's a visual joke. Everybody listening in podcast form, I tried to drink 2 glasses at once.
One was full of beer. One is not full of bourbon, but one is a couple fingers of bourbon. Neat. I do not condone this activity on this here show, Buffalo Rumblings. This is not a message that is verified or approved by Buffalo Rumblings either. Double drinking at the same time. So.
Oh, I thought maybe you meant that you go with ice.
Well, I do that as well, but yes, I like mine on a big rock. I like a big ice cube. So one of the best gifts Beth ever got me was like the ice cube tray that makes the round ones and the big giant ice cubes and stuff like that. But we are off track. It is so good to have every single one of you. Welcome to everybody that is in the comment section that is joining us live. Welcome to everybody consuming this show in podcast form as well. In audio form, we're grateful to have you. Please please subscribe, whatever platform you're consuming this podcast on. We are Super Chat Live. If you are with us on the show live right now, YouTube, you can Super Chat Live on YouTube. You can't Super Chat Live on Facebook or on Twitter. But yeah, jump over to YouTube. That's where all the cool kids hang. But John,
is that true?
That is very true. Yeah, why don't we get the video in? You want to get the video in real quick before we have a special guest tonight for this episode, another special guest. And I think that we're going to have a couple special guests next week for our last show of the season. Yes, you just heard that right. The last show of the year is next week.
God, that's horrible to say out loud.
It is horrible to say out loud. It just kind of pushes the nail in even further. But we have yet to announce who's going to be with us, but we'll have some people with us next week. So to kind of finish the season out, we'll talk about some fun stuff. But yes, let's hear from our show sponsor, our title sponsor, John Spazjak.
Hello, Buffalo football family. My name is John Spazjak, and I am the Market Dominator as well as the very proud sponsor of the John Fina Show, hosted by Joe Miller. You know, these are some of my very good friends, and I love what they do because they bring such a high level of excellence to the show, breaking the game down, helping us as fans understand it more, and so we can
He's talking about me, by the way.
Engage with love and support for our Buffalo football team. Now, folks, if you're looking to engage in real estate, I'm your guy, because I will bring these same qualities to the table for you to help you win in this competitive market. So whether you're selling or buying, you need to call 716-570-3298 if you want to win. Let's go, Buffalo!
Let's go, Buffalo, next year.
I got it.
Can we go Sabres? Let's go Buffalo Sabres.
No, I'm not a hockey guy. You keep your Sabres.
What we're going to say.
I was going to say that's about the most uplifting and elevated I've felt since I left the damn game.
If you are in the market to buy or sell a home, please call the Market Dominator team at 716-570-3298, 716-570-3298. Just so everybody knows, John was my real estate agent. So John actually helped me through my process of buying my home. And it was a very scattered and very fast transaction. He got us early occupancy, which in New York State is almost impossible. John is the man. He got our deal. We closed early, so normally it takes like 2 months in this stupid state to close in New York State. He got us closed, I think it was 44 days or something like that, which is unbelievable. So yes, if you're looking to win in this market, call John and his team. Again, 716-570-3298. The good news is John Fina. A lot of our listeners have called John, and John Spazcheck.
That's good, because when I buy my house in Buffalo, I'm gonna use John Spazcheck.
That would be perfect. But John Spazcheck. I know John Spazcheck. The person that we're about to bring on also knows John Spazcheck. She is the founder of the Bills Mafia Babe. She's a very good friend of mine. She's a very good friend of John Fina and John Spazcheck. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kristen Kimmick. Kristen.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Well, we're happy to have you, but not too thrilled about the timing. We were hoping to, I promised you'd be on the last show, right? That was the promise.
Wait,
I was.
Oh, okay. Wait,
yeah, it's my show.
Was this scheduled to be the last show?
No,
so it's your fault. It's your fault.
No. I didn't say you're coming on next week. I said we want you for the season finale, hopefully February 23rd or something.
Oh, okay.
All of us live together.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like it's my fault.
That's a lot of pain,
Yeah. So now I understand what happened.
I had to talk my way out of that one, Kimmick. Back me up.
So now I understand what happened because John earlier today on the phone with me was like, "So we're done tonight, right?" And I was like, "No, we got one more. Our sponsors have us through January." And he's like, "Oh."
It hurts. Let's let Kimmick talk. Does it hurt? Where does it hurt?
We show us where the Bills hurt you.
Yeah.
Everywhere. My brain, my chest, my heart, I'm physically standing in the cold for how many games? My whole body, I think my joints will never be the same after Chicago.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm just glad that Chicago weather didn't make it to Buffalo as far as during a football game, because I probably would have tapped out. 27 last week was amazing because the sun was shining. So like I'm on the visitor side, so we were peeling clothes off because it was warm, it was hot. Like I wasn't wearing my gloves, I didn't have my stocking cap on. But yeah, if it had been 10s, I probably would have not even had given my tickets away. I probably just wouldn't have gone. I've been like, I'm not doing that. Like, no.
Chicago was actually 5 degrees technically, but the feels like was like negative 20 or 25. It was
That's crazy.
The coldest I've ever felt in my life.
Well, before we get started, as much as John is asking you about the football game already, for those listeners that we have, and there's probably some of them, tell everybody, Kristen, who you are. Tell them what you have done as far as with this wonderful charity that you have created. Tell them where they can find you, and then we'll start talking about just some of your experiences this year.
Cool. So I'm Kristen Kimmick. I'm the founder and president of the Bills Mafia Babes. Bills Mafia Babes started as a community actually for women, just to kind of bond together, be able to cheer together, support one another, make new friends, and no matter what city you're in, to go watch games together. And started with 25 women in the group, and organically grew itself over the last 6 years to have over 27,000 women in the group.
How many?
I think we're at 27,300 and change right now.
Good Lord.
So about like a year and a half, 2 years ago, we became a 501c3 nonprofit as well. And so we actually work with a different player every month to bring awareness to a charity or a foundation if they have their own foundation, or a charity that they're really attached to. And then we do fundraisers and events and everything that we can to raise as much money for them as we can, and within 30 days. And then we start again the next month and do it all over.
That's awesome. Do you have a count of how many people you've helped so far since you came into existence?
Yeah. I mean, not physical people, right? Because I don't know, what the outcome of the foundational work is on their end.
Right.
But we've worked with, we've doubled up on a couple of them. So I think we're around maybe 21 different players.
That's awesome.
That we've worked with, in the last 2 years.
Now, is the what are the Dolphins girls called?
Oh, the Dolphins darlings. Yeah.
Yes. Are they affiliated with you? I saw some of your back and forth with some of them after the Dolphins game. I'm like, wait, what is this? So are you like with 26 shirts in Chicago, 26 shirts in Buffalo? Are you affiliated with them at all?
No, I mean, we don't have any direct affiliation yet, but we have obviously, we become friends. There's the Chiefs chicks, there's the Dolphins darlings, there's now the Bears babes. And so little by little, we're starting to connect. And, I mean, once our teams aren't playing each other, there's nothing wrong with like having friendly banter and actually becoming friends. So met a bunch of women across the United States this year with being able to travel to the games. I was meeting them in person, and it was just really cool.
The Bears babes. I think you should take a page out of the Bills playbook and trademark the word babes, and then send cease and desist to everybody trying to do good things with the word babes. So
yeah, we're working on it actually.
Hey, Kimmick, how many games did you get to this year?
Good question.
All of them.
All of them, everywhere, all at once. Oh, wait, that was amazing.
Yeah, it's all in one weekend. It was an exhausting weekend.
Yeah, around the world. And,
what was your? Did you have a favorite trip? Went to all of them, so we answered that. But did you have a favorite one? Like, oh, I hope we play there again. That was awesome.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I loved Kansas City, and hanging out with you guys there was awesome. So that was probably fun-wise my favorite trip of the season. That, or it actually kind of rivals with Miami as well. That was a blast, but obviously the game outcome on that one was not. So outside of that, I actually really we were blessed to go there twice, but I fell in love with Detroit. They are a hidden gem of a city once you get inside downtown. Their stadium is phenomenal, and honestly, their fans there were pretty great as well. So Cincinnati, we obviously saw the outpouring of love from fans in real time, and that was really something that I will never forget. Bengals fans walking up to you, hugging you within the stadium, letting us know that they're also praying and stuff like that. But yeah, I think they're a great city, a great fan base over there, which obviously that's tough to say when we just had a loss to them yesterday, but I still want to have no ill will towards them. As fans and as a city themselves, right?
See, that's the moment where I'm like, yeah, I lived in Columbus, Ohio, an hour and a half north of Cincinnati for a long time. And Columbus is filled with Steeler fans and diehard Cleveland Brown fans. And this is where it gets tough for me because like I have a lot of friends that are, and I put this on Facebook that Monday night, I was wishing all of my Bengal fan friends, finger quotes, because literally conversations with Steeler fans, diehards, right? We all know how Steeler fans are. Brown fans are akin to Bills fans. You can't crush their souls. No matter since Jim Brown, the Browns have done nothing. And like Browns fans will not die. They will not, I'm going to say they hired a sexual predator, like right in their quarterback, and they're still supporting that football team. Got more power to them. Yeah. Bengal fans, on the other hand, from my experience, and I'm sure that there's some watching us on Facebook right now because I'm still connected to a lot of them. When I got to Columbus, Ohio, and through the 13 years that I was there, it was basically, oh, who do you root for? The Bengals. Oh, you're a Bengal fan. Great. You going to watch the game this weekend? No. And I'm like, what? The Bengals suck, man. I don't watch them when they suck. And that wasn't like, I knew probably 3 real true Bengal fans that even when the Bengals were bad, they were watching the Bengals all the time. And now all of a sudden, John was there and you were there. Our stadium was chock full of orange and black. And I was like, where did these people come from? Because who they, I don't know who you they, like, I don't know who you guys are because so that my experience of Bengal fans, I'm not saying that inside the stadium, because Cincinnati is a great city. It's a fantastic city. And I'm not saying that I just, when you talk about fair weather to me, and keep in mind, they're called the Bungles for a reason. I mean, they've done a lot. They didn't do 17 years of no playoffs. Neither did the Browns, but they've done a lot to hurt their fan base. But the what's the word? Say lackadaisical. That's not the correct word. Just as far as being kind of like,
they're indifferent. Apathetic.
Apathetic. That's the word. As far as being apathetic. Do
I get to take a word guess lap around the living room here?
You can, please. And now that they've got Joe Burrow, who is world class, and they've got Jamar Chase, who's world class, and Tyler Boyd, and they've got Joe Mixon in that defense. Now all of a sudden they're all like all in. Now I'm not saying I'm going to blame them, but that was a really long diatribe on why I disagree with you on their fans are really great. But Sorry, Chris.
Well, I don't think she's talking about the fans insofar as their history. I think she was talking about them as human beings, Joe. And
Now-
maybe you could try to connect at a human level.
I might be spiteful right now. I might have a little bit of spite in me.
I know it burned, man. I did it burn. Like I went home after the game and I kind of laid in bed for a little while and I was like, I shouldn't be this upset, but I was upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kimmick, you're frozen. Give us something. I can't read you. You're like a sphinx. You're frozen in
Am I
time.
moving now or am I actually frozen?
We can
No,
hear
you're-
you, but your video's frozen. And hearing
Yeah.
you is the most important thing. So as
Hearing
much
you
as
is the
we want
most
to
important part.
see your as much as we want to see your lovely face move, it doesn't have to. We can see you.
Yes.
But we can hear you, which is clearly the most important thing. But
I hope my face isn't frozen in a really awkward position, but I'm
it
sure.
is not. It is.
You look sinister. Actually, I'm a little frightened.
So, what is your greatest takeaway outside of the Monday night DeMar Hamlin game? What was probably the highlight? What was your greatest moment or two moments from the season for you?
Honestly, it was the Patriots game, and I think that is because of spite. That's a stadium that I have not wanted to go into for the entirety of it. They're not that far away. They're not hard to drive to.
Right.
But I never wanted to see them when Tom Brady was playing there, to be honest. I had no inkling to go in there, deal with the fans in there. But I'll say it was kind of cathartic being in there this year because we really laid the hammer on that game. And it was actually kind of therapeutic to look around the stadium. Anytime Josh Allen did anything, you could look in any direction and there would be a couple of Patriots fans melting down. And that was that was good for the soul, right? So
That's awesome.
that was honestly one of them. And then obviously I think the fact that we had some losses, but the losses we had were close. They really weren't blowouts. And so, there was just a couple of mistakes being made in those, obviously outside of last night. And I think that even leaving those losses wasn't as painful. So I'd say, overall, I think that was a good takeaway over the season is that we've got it. We're on the brink of it. I thought we were there this year, but
That's cool. By the way, from a tech guru, Matt Gavenda. Oh, you're working again. He says that if you freeze, if you turn it off and turn it back on again, it may work again. Is what he says. He's a internet website genius dude. Yeah, just your camera, not your actual microphone as well. But
Yeah.
am I back?
well, no, still frozen. So
No.
Matt was not right.
Okay. You want me to leave and come back in?
So no, you're fine. You're good. We'll keep rocking and rolling this way. More than likely, you've got a couple gamers around you that are sucking up all your broadband. So it's
I
just
live alone, and I live alone, and I'm on my own Wi-Fi, so I don't.
no, I'm saying people sharing. So I don't want to get into it. It's technical.
Can we move on?
Right. I'm sorry. I'm ruining
I'm
the show. So that's awesome. Yeah, I only made it to one away game this year, which you both were at, which was the Chiefs game, and that was an epic blast. Like we had such a good time, and the Bills came out with the dub. John, how many games did you get to away games this year, or just games in general?
Let's see. Just the three, right? Green Bay and Buffalo, and this most recent game, and at Kansas City.
That's it, just the three. Gotcha. Which one was your favorite?
I can't remember. Which one was my favorite? Oh, honestly, man, I have no desire to go to away games. Like people are like, go to Miami, and I'm like, A, I hate Florida. So B, no. D, not. So anytime I get to Buffalo, it's a favorite game, even when we lose, because honestly, for me, I can watch the game anywhere.
Right.
And I'm going to watch it again, thanks to this damn show, because I now have to watch it all the time. So it doesn't matter. For me, it's all about going and hanging out with Kimmick and the babes and the Mafia House and the food. And you know what? This was my daughter's first game ever. So Mimi Fina was in the house, had a blast, and despite the loss, we just had an epic time.
Awesome. Pamela actually has a question for you, Kimmick. She asks in a super chat, she says, "Hey, beautiful Kristen," that's you. Your best experience with fans and in what stadium, which you may have already answered, but if you did, answer it again, or if you've got another one or whatever. But yeah, favorite experience with the fans and in what stadium was it?
Fans wise, I'm always going to rock back to Kansas City on that one because they have been nothing but great to me anytime I've been there. I don't know if that's the same vibe for everybody. I've heard some folks say that they had bad experiences there, but honestly, third time in, I never have.
Right.
So
right.
I would probably say them. They were good. They were fun. Behind that, like I said, Detroit was nice. They were good people, and same thing. Cincinnati, they were. Like John said, they were human. They were human, and they showed it. They were empathetic. So
I have not been to every stadium. I haven't been to as many now as you obviously have. Neither of us have been to as many as John has been as a player on the field. But the Chiefs,
most of the stadiums I've been to are torn down now. They've been run into the earth.
The word is condemned, John. You're so old; those buildings have been condemned.
Thank God.
But to me, the Chiefs fans, and I'm not saying fan experience and that they were the nicest people in the world. Fan experience just in the sense of have it together, loud, understand situational football, chant all at the same time. They are just the Chiefs fan experience is just something that, in my opinion, every NFL fan should go see at some point. And next year you're going to get a chance because the Bills are playing there again. But that to me is it's just cool being in that stadium. And I wish our stadium, I think we have the ability to do it. Like, that's good for a Buffalo Bills, and the crowd yells first down, like doing all that kind of stuff. For some reason, we don't, but I feel like we could if the broadcast announcer dude from the country station here in Buffalo, WYRK, would do those things. I think it would work. But you guys agree, disagree? Did you feel a better fan experience that way competitively than the Chiefs one, the Chiefs fans?
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, they bring the noise, dude. You were in there; it's almost deafening at times.
Right.
And even with how many Bills fans travel there, even, the 13 seconds game last year.
Yep.
We had a lot of Bills fans in that stadium for that. And they were still, yep. So even that one, they were even louder, obviously, at that. But holy smokes, it's a ton.
Yeah, crazy loud. So with that, before we jump into the game yesterday and we get just some overarching thoughts, which John's already fanning himself.
Yeah, I'm just like I love talking about all this fun stuff, but I know we got to get to this part, and I'm just dreading it, so I'm fanning myself.
Well, before we do, you get to talk about house capital.
Yeah, I mean, the upside is, especially in this market, if you're looking for a mortgage, you want a pro. When you're looking to buy a house, everybody's got a guy. None of them as good as John Spascheck, but when you need a mortgage, you got to get the right guy. Anybody can do work on your roof. Anybody can do the plumbing. I mean, an inspection. The three blind mice can do that. But when you want financing, you go to Brian Belser from House Capital. That's it. He's your guy. Brian Belser, House Capital. His relationships with the lenders in your area will get your deal done. So when you need a loan, go to Brian Belser at House Capital. He didn't give me a phone number, but you can find the guy. And here's the NMLS number if you want it.
You want to say the word again? The NMLS?
NMLS. What'd I say?
Oh, I thought it was. Never mind.
It's NMLS.
Okay, it sounds funny saying it. For some reason, all I can hear is MLS. But yeah, go ahead. You're fine.
Yeah, you're done. All right. Call Brian Belser at House Capital. Now we have to
585-309. That is not his. I'm giving out his cell phone number. I better.
Oh yeah, just like Spascheck.
I better not.
You're going down, Belser.
There it is right now, and I can't drop Kimmick out, but it's 716-815. Kimmick, don't go anywhere. 2102 815-2102. Kimmick, we got your back. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, making sure.
Am I still frozen?
All right, Kristen.
You're a black screen now, so I've totally ruined. Oh, now
there
you're
back.
Hey.
Where am I moving?
You're not moving anywhere, but what you're going to do is you're going to move me and Joe and the audience. We're going to give you first take, top line thoughts. I don't care if it's the game, the coaching, expectations. Ready? You're the general manager. Go.
Oof. Defensive coaching. That was a big one. There were some things that came out of that I cannot believe some of those plays that were even called on that field. That was honestly, that was the most frustrating part. I mean, other side of the ball though, like you're not going to win football games with only putting up 10 points, especially in a playoff game. So I think that there was just, I mean, our O-line Josh got hit so many times that both his elbows were bleeding, like, come on. It just, where did that team go that we watched all season? Where did they go? Because last night was not it. I'm just still spiraling over it, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. We have a super chat real quick from Matt Gavenda. Thank you for being a part of the show, bro. Appreciate you. He says, to us, all of us, thank you for doing this show all year. Sucks that the year ended this way, and there's lots of questions going into the off season. He just says, thank you. So, Matt, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a part of the show. We appreciate you. John, you get to go next. What were your just overall arching thoughts of the game? I'm sure they probably align with Kristen's.
Yeah, Joe, we talk about it all the time. No expectation that Leslie Frazier is going to do anything outside of his comfort zone, and it just killed us. We sat back, we watched, we waited. They exposed the middle of the field. They exposed the sideline. It was before we knew it, we were down 14. I mean, that shouldn't happen to you when you're going for the championship, right? You got to hold them. It should 10 to 0.
Right.
Or, so that was just absolutely disheartening. Right from get-go, you knew we're going to wing it. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
Offensively, I only watched the first half, and you could see me rubbing my brow because we waited to get into the running game. The running game was working. We come out in the third quarter. I've only watched that drive. We're driving the field. We're using the running game properly. And as soon as we get a first down, now we're throwing it down the field again. The variety of our plays and the identity of our plays, and nothing fits together.
Right.
Nothing fits together. And then I just texted you and Spence and Jerry O. We got first and goal in the third quarter. We need a touchdown. We're lining up to run the ball, and we got two blockers in the backfield, and they basically have 80 jerseys on. We got Isaiah McKenzie lined up behind the guard. I don't get it. And we're running the ball in that direction.
Right.
So top line revenue here. I would not be shocked to see changes made at the leadership level on both sides of the ball. And I'm not calling for jobs. I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm not saying that they can't evolve, but they should have evolved for this game.
Yeah, that's well said. Thoughts for me is, there was just a lot of, I don't understand. There was so much, I don't understand what's going on, that it was hard to be mad during the game. It was just very what are we doing right now? This doesn't make any sense. You're waiting for somebody to make a play. Josh's presser, he talked about the fact that they've been pretty good when they needed to go down the field and get points. They could almost at will. Scoring before the end of halftime, or before halftime rather. They've always been good at that. They couldn't get that done. There was just a lot of moments, and then there was a lot of there was 2 12-man on the defense issues. One was when the timeout was called to prevent the penalty. The second one was a penalty. It's like a championship caliber football team is having these issues, 12 men on the field more than once in a game, playing 7-8 yards off on 3rd and 5 against Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins. Nobody being able to make a tackle. Something like half of the yards that Joe Mixon got were after contact in that football game. It just the amount of peanut butter that you could spread across this game, in the sense of win as a team. Did you put that?
No, you're gonna love my comment. Everybody's been reading and listening to everybody today, losing their minds about the Buffalo Bills, and I'm thinking about it. The coaching and here's the line I came out with. This game was so bad that just about every take you've heard today from anyone is at least 75% true.
It's fair. I mean, and when you look at Stephon Diggs, and just that scenario, and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was trying to get home through the traffic to see his brother play football, because his brother was on the very next game. It's now since kind of come out that he was upset. So when I understand that he's he's upset, there's an aspect of, you understand, but at the same time, Josh was running for his life most of that football game. and I'm not saying that he made good decisions. He like blamed some of the play calls on himself, like in his presser. He was like, maybe I didn't get the play calls right. Maybe I slid the protections the wrong direction. So, I mean, he was owning way more of it than I was comfortable with him owning it. But, when you see just how dejected the players were, how numb they were to kind of just what happened, how Matt Milano's comments, we had no juice, we had no energy, like there was no momentum on our side of the football. It was very much a, how did we get here? And then to your point, John, and I don't know how much to your point this matters, but to your point, Sean McDermott basically saying, you look at the last game you play in the playoffs, and that tells you who you were as a team for the year. Woof. Right. Woof. Like that. So Sean, you're telling us that that's who you are. That game that we just watched yesterday, that's who you are as a team. That's what you're telling us.
Kimmick, you got anything to add to that? Because I need to take a break and throw up somewhere. Can I throw up in the trash can? It's got holes in it.
I'm joining you, man. I'm joining you on that one. I'm still speechless.
God.
I don't know.
I'm going to turn the light off. All right. So I have another comment.
All right.
Which lighting is better for me? This one?
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
I'm kidding.
See what I did with Kimmick.
So listen, I wanted to bring this up because everybody, you said running for his life, and I quantified, in the first half. So Dion gave up a bad sack, right? And then Josh missed the safety blitz, right?
Yeah.
That was on him. And then we had pressure from the right side. But truly, and just being fair, because I always defend the offensive line, and I want to make sure that you guys trust me on this podcast, Roger Saffold was awful.
Yeah.
And I like him, and I want to like him, but he was awful. I'm sorry. And then the holding call on Dion was absolutely terrible. He buried the guy. It was beautiful, like every offensive lineman's dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then the holding call on Ryan Bates was soft at best. But beyond that, honestly, we should have been running the ball a lot more, and it would have helped our passing game, frankly. So, the old quote, Coach, what do you think about your offense? Well, we didn't block anybody, but we made up for it on defense by not tackling either. I mean, there was nothing special happening in the front four. And, I don't know if that was a decision that the Bengals offensive line is hurt, but we're going to just beat them man to man.
Yeah.
Well, when that didn't happen early on, then you got to help those guys. You got to start moving people around and bring some pressure. But aside from that, it was a flat-footed Leslie Frazier moment. I'm befuddled. Somebody take over because I got to go get the trash can again.
It was akin to the Jets game. Well, not the Jets offensively. So Jets defensively, rather. It was akin offensively. This game was akin to the Jets game that we lost this year. Defensively, it was akin to the Colts game last year where they just had no answers. Offensively speaking, did either of you see the play? And I talked about this on the Overreaction show last night. Did either of you see the play where Josh snaps the ball, right? So he takes the snap. He's in shotgun. And upon the snap, he immediately jumps to his right to throw the ball to his right. While that action is happening, at the snap of the ball, Roger Saffold pulls and he runs around Deion Dawkins to the left like it's a run play. Meanwhile, Josh Allen is in pass mode. He doesn't make the pass because there's nobody open over there. So he pulls the ball down, checks and looks, and ends up running left. But when that play happened, I was like, what the heck is going on right now? Josh is going to the right. Saffold is pulling outside to the left. I'm like, I was at a loss. Did either of you see that play? If not, you've got to go back and watch it.
Can you help me out? I mean, it's 4 quarters of football.
Quarter 2 or 3. It was quarter 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure it was quarter 3.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch
I just watched the first half. I didn't see it. I'll go back. You know how I like to send you screenshots and be like,
Well, that's one to look for. The other one to look for was brought up, I believe, by Jeremy White today on WGR 55 this morning when he said that at the Hail Mary pass at the end of the second half for the Bengals, Matt Milano was out wide covering Jamar Chase. Now, I know that you've got everybody back, but still, Matt Milano, and he even said, so my thought was he was either going to knock him down, right? So check him upon the snap of the ball, or he was going to blitz from wide and he was going to come in. He goes, nope, at the snap of the ball, Milano turns his shoulders and runs with Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase had him within 7 yards, like gone right by him. He's like, who comes up with that plan? If there's a Hail Mary for the Bengals, and all go route, Matt Milano's covering Jamar Chase.
That plan was brought to you by the same people who had the last play of the Dallas game on the other side of the ball with with Ezekiel Elliott snapping.
Right, exactly. Yeah. What is happening? What is happening?
Kimmick, what kind of wizardry are we witnessing?
I have no idea. It's Harry Potter out there, right?
Well stated. So if we're going to transition to the good, this is going to be a short segment, but
can't we do a barbecue read right now? I need a break.
5 minutes. We got 5 minutes before the barbecue.
My God.
The good is Q42 barbecue. The good is House Capital. The good is,
John Fast Check, the market dominator.
Kristen Kimmick.
Before hold your thought. I'm just saying, I really felt like Picasso's should have sent me some damn pizza and wings. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to ask for it.
Oh, that's hysterical. You did ask.
Are they that good? Are they signed up for next year?
Jay Spence is in the room. He I don't know.
Am I allowed to call him out? I thought I'd get some pizza. I thought,
for sure, John Fina would get pizza. The talent.
All right, what were you going to ask Kimmick? I want to hear
Kristen
it.
Kimmick,
He's crying. Look, all you can see is her ball cap.
I know. I actually am crying a little bit, though. You want to ask me something good? There's like maybe 3 things right now.
You've got 3 things. Let's
hear them. I'd love to hear that.
And one of them is that we actually know who to fire now, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I honestly want some heads to roll. Like, we need some switch ups. But also, we found some players, I especially think yesterday, that really kind of, they shined a bit when maybe they have been sort of dull gems the rest of the season. I think Khalil Shakir is finally really starting to get his groove. I think that Nyheim Hines we saw a little bit more of rather than just these punt returns. And I think that he's going to have a bigger space hopefully next year. I think that James Cook really kind of came out of his shell this year as well. And he had some pretty solid touches yesterday. And also that was nice to see them actually utilize Dawson Knox a little bit more than normal too,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. John, the good for or rebuttals or the good from you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think with a dedicated running attack, with a real, high concept dedication to the running game, we've got 4 of the 5 right guys right now. I'm really upset with Saffold. I've been watching him for a while. I still think Mitch Morse is the guy. Ryan Bates is playing very well. Spencer Brown is getting better. And I think Dawkins, it's a lot when you throw the ball like we do and you don't have much of a running game to protect. And I think that helps. It helps protect. So I think there's good there. I think Dorsey has got to go back to OC school and start figuring. Oh wait, we're on the good. Shit. Hold on.
Give me a minute.
I decided not to go with a ball cap tonight because I thought my hair looked all right. Does it look okay?
Sure.
Okay, that's number 2. Woo! I need 3. Look, I think that I think Dane Jackson plays pretty good football right now. I don't think that they put our guys in great position, and it might be some sort of a rollover from having all the injuries. I think that they're a decent crew back there. I just think they're lost in game planning. So I'm going to give a thumbs up to the secondary, whereas the front 4, that's on the other side.
Yeah, I don't know where to go after that. So
that was it. That's my good. You're going to give us your good.
I don't know that I've got. So to Kristen's point, I thought Khalil Shakir's 2 catches were big catches. They were important.
Well, I didn't want to duplicate. I was trying to go with something original.
No, you're fine. You're good. You just said that the defensive backfield looked good in yesterday's game. They didn't cover. Well, they couldn't have covered anything. Like
they did. Well, they weren't asked to. They were asked to do was sit back in space.
That is.
They didn't have a game. My point is, they didn't have a game plan to give them. I'm putting that on the DC.
Yeah.
Not on the players.
Has there ever been a time in your professional career And I know that it was long, so it wasn't short. So it's probably maybe harder to remember. And I know I've asked you questions like this before, and you're like, "Oh man, that's a tough one." Has there ever been a time where you looked at the game plan and you were like, "This is shit. This game plan."
Yeah. My last year it was really bad. I'll tell you this though. There is no fear of the Buffalo Bills defense. That's the problem.
There's no mystique of playing in Buffalo in January anymore.
No, well, that I get that. I think the progress of offensive coordinators and quality of receivers and quarterbacks are accounting for a lot of that.
Yeah.
But there's no fear. Like there's nothing to fear about our defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't even manufacture fear, like with some cool coverage changes, some blitzes and red dogs and green dogs and blue dogs. I don't even know what color the dogs are because we don't even have any dogs.
Finishing up the good for me, I thought the crowd was great. I thought the fans did a very good job of trying to stay in it. As much they were loud early. They were probably louder than I've heard them at home all season long. They were loud early. They were loud often, even late in the game. When things looked like they were pretty much on the fence and probably over, they were still doing a very good job of being loud.
Amazing.
Yeah, they did a very good job. That snow, I thought the setting was incredible as far as the snow globe that the game was. It was a little annoying at times, but I thought it was great. I thought the field guys with the shovels and the air blowers did a great job. I thought they did a really
yeah, they were fantastic.
Look, I got to tell you, your number
full fashion. They were really a highlight too.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I could give it to the fans because they were brilliant. I mean, they were amazing. But then when your next best thing is the guys
shoveling the field, the sidelines.
That was, what we say out here in the West, that there's a dog's ass.
If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, right? So we have another super chat this time from Pamela. Pamela, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Why is no one talking about the emotional and mental state they were in the past month and a half was a lot for them? Butch always says it's a mental game as much as a physical game. There was a lot of conversation, and there has been Sal Capaccio has been pining on today just about how tired he is. And he's not even a player as much as he's with the team, is at every practice, is on the team plane, and everything that the players have kind of gone through, he's kind of gone through. There's something to be said for being out of gas. I think the three of us would say, and most Bills fans would say, or most analysts would say, this goes beyond emotion. There was something wrong with the game plans. There was something wrong with the script. There was something wrong with the preparation. There was something wrong with the way they played. But John, you had your hand raised.
I just wanted to say that, you like to see it the other way. Like it feeds you. Like even though there's no food in the grocery store, you're feeding on that emotion. So I see it the other way. Like why didn't they do it? Because of the game planning. So I was fixing to agree with you, Kimmick. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, are you asking me?
We are.
I just said, Kimmick, what do you think?
Well, you said you were fixing to agree, and I zoned out for a second.
I was fixing to agree with Joe, as much as I hate doing that.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to agree with you on both that one.
So Pamela follows up with, it's obvious that they were out of gas. I'm not sure that it was. Were they out of gas last year when they looked like this against the Jaguars? Is that what the problem was? Were they out of gas? Now, they've gone through a lot this year.
No, they were not.
I think the problem...
Maybe emotional gas.
The problem with even the emotional gas is you just watch Patrick Mahomes sustain a high ankle sprain the night before, maybe even has a knee injury. Not all of the information has come out yet. So effectively, you are win this game and you're in the Super Bowl. If that can't fire you up, if that can't give you one more push, if that can't give you one more bit of juice, bit of edge, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I know. And we don't have this conversation if it's a loss by 5 or 3 or 6, right? But this was a dismantling. I mean, I've been involved in a few of these, and you come off the field and you don't even want to look in the mirror. Like you just you want to cut your pad. Look, Stephon Diggs, honestly, I couldn't get my gear off fast enough and get the hell out of there because it's enough that you won't be able to shed this for a month or 2 or 3 or 4. but physically you just want to discard everything about it and get yourself out of that environment as quickly as possible. Yeah. And, another thing I want to say is that, I read a lot on Twitter and this and that, but I hope there's nobody, especially in our comment feed or listening to this, that thinks they're more upset than the players are because it was a poor performance. Don't start saying, oh, they didn't care. They didn't want it. I never buy that crap. They were flat and they sucked, but they damn well wanted it. That's for sure.
Stand up a round of applause to that, because I'll tell you, I actually had to log off Twitter today because I couldn't stand the Diggs hate anymore. I mean, do you want somebody that doesn't care about the game to that level? I think, and everybody's, pulling the the leaders don't do that. Well, maybe,
Bull crap. I mean, this is athletics. I've seen some stuff from guys that you would consider leaders, and you'd be like, oh, you'd be pearl clutching. I mean, the guy left the locker room fast, and people are peeing their pants.
I mean, think about when Ken Dorsey had that, the tantrum with the iPad. And then Eric Wood even came out and said, that's somebody that you want to play for.
Agreed.
And that's the kind of guys that you also want in our locker room, right? We want to have the guys that have fire in them.
Buffalo Freddy, my man Dan says, #draft fat guys. Draft big, burly, bearded, brawny, angry, mauling fat guys. We haven't done that at all. He's sending a message.
I don't agree, man. I mean,
you don't agree with that? On the
defensive line? I was fortunate that I got to be on the field before the game yesterday with Mimi. I totally surprised her. She didn't know where we were going, so I'm like, follow me, and we start walking down the steps in the end zone, and we're 3 steps from the field, and I look back and I said, you know what? Why don't we just go on the field for a while? And I swear I thought she was tearing up. It was insanely cool.
I can confirm that. She told me that exact same story today and did tell me she was tearing up. So.
And then I took her over to the sideline, home sideline, and right before the players went in, I just said, Dion, I met your mother, Lisa, at the Mafia House. She's amazing, and now I know why you are, right? And he came over and I'm totally fanboying. I don't know if I should be embarrassed or it's I'm pretty cool. He shook my hand. He gave Mimi a big hug.
That's awesome.
I mean, I was like,
McKenna would be so upset right now. That's her favorite player, but yeah.
I thought of McKenna, and McKenna, if you're listening, I was definitely thinking of you, and I was wishing that you were with me as well, but not your dad. All right, we got to do this read, buddy.
Hang on a second. I think what Freddie's more talking about is probably defensive linemen. So there's something to be said for who we've drafted, on the defensive line. Long, skinny, slim guys. Even Ed Oliver isn't exactly, stout as it pertains to, body mass and size. But you apparently don't like that answer either. So
I love Dan Freddy, and he knows that because we hugged it out yesterday. But listen, Dan, I'm telling you, we go back and watch the film. We can't have guys just flying upfield. You can't take a shoulder. If I'm on your outside shoulder, I got to go through the shoulder.
Right.
I can't just jump outside and create all these seams. And I watched. I thank God I don't have to watch the second half of this game.
Well, you might have to, but yeah.
Oh, only if we're going to talk about it later.
Let's talk about Q42.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do a special Q42 read because Iman Azizi from Q42 was so tired and he forgot, and he's so angry that I just pulled up the last 6 reads and I just randomly numbered the sentences. So I'm going to read it in no particular in a random order. I don't know why, but this week Q42 is giving the fans what they want. Go to Q42 Barbecue and get yourself some handcrafted 100% made in Buffalo barbecue sauces and rubs. Use the code FINA SHOW and save 15%. It's really 30. Third read. Get your all-natural made in Buffalo barbecue sauces and rubs. Punch in that coupon code FINA SHOW to save 30%. Q42 is all natural, crafted in Western New York with local honey and real ingredients. Number 5, just go to Q42barbecue.com. All those sauces and rubs to your cart. Put them in the coupon code FINA SHOW, all caps. Get 30% off. And what's the best way to celebrate that gritty, gutsy, gravelly, plucky win over the Cleveland Bravens? Buy some Q42. The best way to recap Sunday's game is by typing Pittsburgh toilet into the Google machine. Check that out. Then head over to Q42barbecue.com. That's QE42bbq.com. and pump in Fina Show, all capitals, and get your 30% off.
Well
That
done.
was one of the best reads I've ever heard. I'm just surprised that there was no slander on Doritos in that, to be honest.
Wait, why would there be slander? Why would there be slander on Doritos?
I totally slander Doritos. I do.
You haven't seen, like, Eamon's got some disdain for the prices of Doritos.
Oh, that's right. It's because he hasn't had the sweet spicy chili Doritos yet. If Iman had sweet spicy chili Doritos, he'd be like, "Oh, never mind."
I got a cease and desist from the Doritos Corporation.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Why do you do this? So due to
it was Frito-Lay.
Due to the fact that we have been wildly negative most of this show, I don't know that we need to necessarily go on to the things that need work, right? But we could probably spend the last 10 or so minutes of the show just talking about next season a little bit. Maybe some areas that we can improve, things that maybe we're going to see that they can do. When you look at this, it's most assuredly probable at this point that, Jordan Poyer is going to be gone. Tremaine Edmonds, there's a question mark out there as to whether or not he's going to be signed. You look at just Roger Saffold is gone. There's a list out there of all the players. I think I can find it. Sal Capaccio has a list out there. I'll look it up right now. Just all the guys that are potentially going to be gone from this team, or, are free agents or restricted free agents, unrestricted or restricted. Why don't we just talk real quick? What's the first position group, Kimmick, that you would upgrade?
I'm glad you asked her.
Ooh, I think.
The offensive line.
Yep. I think.
So are you in the position John is in when you talk about just one position there, or is it a situation just Roger Saffold, or do you feel like we need work in other areas as well?
I think that there's too many holes. So obviously Saffold is a big issue, right? But I think that we've got a few more guys in there that I think that they've got the power to fix it. And I really can't identify what the missing link is there, obviously outside Roger. But I think there's guys that could just use more work and we can keep them.
Right.
But I think, redrafting some of the plays, things like that, to maybe be more to their strong suit.
Right.
Stuff like that. But
Ryan Bates had a glowing review of Aaron Cromer today in his exit interview with the press, which was great. It's going to be interesting to see what the Buffalo Bills do there. Just to give you guys an idea, so unrestricted free agents or practice squad players, Matt Barkley. So these are all free agents, practice squad players. Matt Barkley, Duke Johnson, Cole Beasley, who said today he wants to come back to Buffalo and pretty much made it sound like the only place he wants to play is Buffalo. John Brown, Tanner Gentry, Keyshawn Johnson, Alec Anderson. You're not going to know most of these guys. I'll give you the other ones as well.
I know Alec Anderson. I got my picture with him yesterday.
There you go. Ryan Van DeMark, Jamarcus Ingram, Kyler McMichael, Joe Giles Harris, Kendall Vickers, Cortez Boughton, Mike Love, and Kingsley Jonathan, who actually played quite a bit in yesterday's football game.
Yeah.
Now, the actual unrestricted, or I should say the free agents, if you will, are going to be Jake Kumaro, Jamison Crowder, who also said that he wants to come back to Buffalo, Ike Butker, Tommy Doyle, Micah Hyde is unrestricted. No, that isn't right. He's after next year. That isn't right. So Micah Hyde is on this team next year. Christian Benford, that doesn't sound right either. This can't be right. I don't know.
No, that can't be right. I don't know what you're reading, but I'll tell you, I talked to Tommy Doyle on the sideline too. He's a great guy.
I apologize.
I hope he really starts to step up and deliver.
So for some reason,
but you asked Kimmick the question. She went O-line, and I'm okay with that as an answer. But
hang on. Sorry. So I need to read you these again, because that was a graphic that looks exactly like this one that Sal had.
I know. I was giving you the amount of time to find the actual right graphic.
Yes. Go ahead. Finish your statement, then I'll talk through this real quick.
No, okay. So Kimmick's like everybody's like, oh, the O-line, Josh was on the run all the time. Fair. I'll take that as fair, even though 50% of them belong to Josh or the receivers or the tight end half the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, like you look at the numbers offensively and you want to do more. So you say offensive line, but our defensive line is littered with first and second round picks.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't get anything done up front. Anything. And even with that said, I'm going to say this. I still don't know who our wide receiver is after Stephon Diggs. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
It's probably a slot guy. Jerry Ostrowski and I were having fun with that. Was it Jerry or was it
Jerry plays slot now?
No, who was it? I was I can't remember. Anyway, you're not wrong. So I'm going to give you the unrestricted free agents and the restricted free agents. Restricted free agents first. Tyrell Dotson. So these are guys that the Bills can keep if they match an offer. Dane Jackson, Cam Lewis. That's it. Restricted free agents. Devin Singletary. So these are guys that can go get the best deal they can get if they don't want to sign with Buffalo. Tywan Jones, Jay Spencer King. Big fan of Tywan Jones. For good reason.
Hey, Jay Spence is a free agent?
No.
He's staying with Buffalo Rumblings, baby.
Cole Beasley, Jake Kumaro, so that name rang a bell. Jamison Crowder, Tommy Sweeney, Roger Saffold, David Quesenberry, Ike Bucker, Greg Van Roten, Bobby Hart. There's a lot. There's a lot of names on here. That's just the offense. Sam Martin, Jordan Poyer, Jaquan Johnson, Dean Marlowe. So if you're losing Jordan, Jaquan, Dean, and DeMar is not able to play next year, you're stuck with basically Micah Hyde and Jared Maiden. Those are your guys, right? Because I don't think they're bringing Jaquan Johnson to start on this defense. Do either of you think that that's going to happen? Probably not. AJ Klein, Tyler Medikevich, which Medikevich to me, you've got to keep. Tremaine Edmonds, there's been a lot of conversation about him. Jordan Phillips, and then Shaq Lawson is the last name on that list. When you're talking about just player moves, but offensive line, there's a lot of guys that might not be on this roster next year. Roger Saffold, David Quesenberry, Ike Bucker, Greg Van Roten, Bobby Hart. Just if we just start with Kimmick's point, the offensive line. Now you said the wide receiver room. So the Buffalo Bills, I've been critical of the wide receiver room all year long, just because they went with 3 boundary receivers, one of which was Jake Kumaro, and they started the season with 4 slots, starting 3 slots every game, which is ridiculous. It was Bruce. I was having this conversation with Bruce Nolan, and Bruce came up with an offensive concept. He said, "What if we went with all slots and we called it the casino formation?" So we just put all slot receivers on the field, and it was the casino formation. I thought it was brilliant. I was like, "You're amazing." But Cole Beasley, Jake Kumaro, Jamison Crowder, John Brown is on the practice squad. That's pretty much it, right? So Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Isaiah McKenzie is signed. He's got one more year in his deal. Khalil Shakir being a rookie. So from a wide receiver standpoint, your point is valid. Kristen, what are your thoughts after Stephon Diggs? Do you package? Do you find a way to send some people to Arizona for Nuke?
Yeah, I would. Once you brought that up, I think that you guys all have, you both have really valid points on that. Looking a little bit deeper, we don't know who our wide receiver 2 is. I just don't think that the guys that we do have right now are strong enough. Do I think they have potential, but they're young,
I just want to know what it is about Josh Allen and wide receivers that have a 50% catch rate. Why did Gabe end up with a 50% catch rate? You go get a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, right? And you put him across the field from Stephon Diggs. That's what you do. And immediately Gabriel Davis is a very good wide receiver again. It's weird how that works, right?
Yeah. What happened to Gabe? I just feel like last year he was so much stronger. He was somebody we could count on a lot more than we could this year.
He was picking up the nickel corner. Most teams' nickel corners aren't Taron Johnson or
Right.
Budda Baker or guys like that. Budda Baker's a safety, but you know what I'm saying? They're guys that are way down on the roster. They're nickel corners for a reason. Taron Johnson is the exception to that rule. He's rated, I think, one of the in the top 10 of corners in the league or the top 15 of corners in the league. Right. But that's literally what happened. All of a sudden, he ended up with a really good corner on him every single football game.
Yeah.
Well, he dropped a big one in the 3rd or 4th quarter,
Yes,
whatever the hell it was. I mean, I was really kind of slack-jawed when I saw that on the replay. I had to go to the bathroom and, scream. I don't want to scream where I was. I was in a suite where people were, let's just say, it was like having Twitter on all the time in my suite. And I was like, I need to go. It was pretty rough.
So I did a series of shows before the season started at 3 men enter, 2 men leave. And it was basically Tremaine Edmonds, Jordan Poyer, and Ed Oliver, right? Ed Oliver's going to be playing on his 5th year option next year, this 2023, for $10.7 I think million a year, or for that year. Are you packaging? Are you riding with Ed Oliver? Is Ed Oliver a guy that you're potentially trying to move? Are you keeping Tremaine Edmonds? Are you keeping Jordan Poyer? Because to me, I feel like I'm keeping Poyer. I feel like I'm keeping Phillips. I'm keeping Daquan's on the team. Settle's on the team. I feel like you can move Ed. You can find another guy in free agency that's a 1-year guy, and maybe I'm keeping Jordan back there with Micah. Doesn't that sound like that's probably a little more important?
I'm going to tell you, I don't disagree with anything you said there. I mean, I would also consider letting Epinesa go. I don't know what they're dealing him if he can.
I think he's got one more year in his deal.
He's got one more year, but you could deal him.
You could.
I mean, the sack numbers might look fair for him, but the impact is what I'm talking about. Like at the end of the season, I got 10 sacks. Well, you got all your sacks in games we won by 28 points when the game.
6.5.
You know what I mean?
Sacks. And they were all somebody on Twitter said they were the quietest 6.5 sacks anybody's ever had.
And that's the problem is the production of our front four is a quiet production when it doesn't quite matter. I don't want to say it that way.
Right.
But honestly, I think it's DC that is going to be there's going to be a talk about that. The defensive coordinator position is going to be probably the biggest conversation in this coming week.
What's amazing to me is guys like Spagnuolo from Kansas City, who used to be a head coach. He was a head coach of the Giants for, I think, just 2 years and then got fired, couldn't cut it. And nobody talks about him for a head coaching job either. And that dude is brilliant. I don't know the guy's name, but the guy that's now in charge of Cincinnati's defense. It's going to be interesting to see what the Bills do, to Kimmick's point earlier, just, accountability. And
I'll tell you, I don't think Spagnuolo wants to be a head coach. He's been around long enough. He's got, the only upside of being the head coach is making 1.4 more than the other guys. You're a D coordinator. You're probably still pulling in 800 or 900, right?
Right, for sure.
For all the headache of being a 2.4 or 5.2 head coach, I don't know. I don't know if he wants it again.
Andy Reid's probably making closer to 10.
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, I'd rather be the CEO of a healthcare insurance company, that does a horrible job taking care, because you're not dragged in the media every day.
Right.
Hey, I'm just a guy who's denying claims, man.
That's hilarious. Kristen Kimmick, we're gonna get up on out of here. You have been a wonderful guest. Any final thoughts on anything that we've talked about? And then once again, tell us about what you do, what you represent, and where people can find you.
Yeah, I think rolling out of this one was still a solid go Bills. Right? Yeah. We can be frustrated, but there was also a lot of good in this season. And then we obviously found out yesterday, the things that we need to work on. They were blaringly obvious, and I'm just really hopeful that over the off season that we get those wrinkles ironed out and rock and roll again next year, right? So
yeah,
going back to what we've always said for years and years, there's always next year, but this time I really believe it. So yeah, I am the president and founder of the Bills Mafia Babes. You can find us at Bills Mafia Babes across all of the socials, at Chemix86 across the socials for myself. And we work with different charities every month. So just check in on those and see what you can do some good for the community.
That's awesome. John Fina, final thoughts.
I got to bring Mimi Fina to her first game.
It was awesome. I got to meet Mimi Fina. A lot of us got to meet Mimi Fina.
Having her at the Bills Mafia house and, with Kimmick today, entertaining her since I had to leave early. I mean, for me, that's a winning season, right? I'm 19-0. I just won the Super Bowl. My kid had a great time. I got closer to the Bills Mafia, the Bills Mafia Babes. I'm growing relationships in Western New York from 2,300 miles away, beyond a random comment on Twitter.
Yeah.
So for me, football is, it's less important than my relationship with the people on the screen, in the comments, Damar Hamlin's life. So it's a win for me. Are they better next year? I hope so. But will I be all the poorer if I'm not hanging out with you guys next year? Well, that's for sure. So
I think that the Buffalo Bills are a better football team if they put people around Josh Allen that can help him. As much as Josh Allen has Superman moments and magic Harry Potter moments where he does the unthinkable and all world things, if you surround him with more weapons and more guys, I think he can be better. For God's sake, stop drafting defensive linemen to rotate at 48% and can't get the job done in the first 2 rounds. Go find some people that can help Josh Allen, which I think James Cook can do next year. So I think one piece of that is there. Obviously, Diggs is there. They're going to have to find a second wide receiver, boundary receiver. I like the idea of Cole Beasley coming back and Khalil Shakir being behind him as far as that goes. Fix the offensive line. There's opportunity to fix this. And if you've got to focus on the offense and let the defense fall a little bit, when you look at the drafting of Kaiir Elam in the first round, did they even need to draft him in the first round? They could have taken anything else there and kept Dane Jackson and Christian Benford on the field, other than Christian getting hurt. I know, but I think there's a lot of opportunity, to your point, John, about the Bills being good next year. I think there's a lot of opportunity for them to bounce back. And the reality is there isn't a more resilient fan base in the NFL.
Thank God.
It's what we do.
Thank God for the Bills Mafia.
As much as we're not talking right now, we'll wake up in the morning, the sun will come up. Maybe not in Buffalo, but the sun will come up. It's gonna be
okay, wait. I have a video.
Yeah.
It snowed in Tucson, Arizona, outside my window right there. It didn't stick, but the mountains are absolutely covered with snow.
That's gorgeous. Yeah.
So,
how often does that happen?
Every 2 years we get snow coming down here, but every year the mountains are covered with snow at least 3 to 5 times.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We just want to see the sun, right? So we just want to see the sun. But I'm excited for next year already. We'll put this behind us at some point. Next week, we will have the last Fina show of the season. Tomorrow, Jay Spence the King and the Code of Conduct. Wednesday, the Hump Day Hotline will be the special time, 9 p.m. Thursday, 3-Man Rush. Friday, Food for Thought. But ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Off Tackle with John Fina show, brought to you by the Market Dominator team on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. My name is Joe Miller. That's John Fina. That's Kristen Kimmick. Thanks to John Spascheck and the Market Dominator team. Thanks to Brian Belser and the House Capital Group. Thanks to Iman and Q42. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you this evening. On behalf of me, John, Kristen, go Bills.
Go Bills.
John.
Where's my free pizza? Go Bills.